Welcome back to English Uplifting. I'm Emma, and today we have a fantastic episode for you. Have you ever been in a conversation where you wanted to express your opinion, but you weren't sure how? Or maybe someone disagreed with you and you didn't know how to respond politely? Well, today's episode is all about expressing opinions and how to agree or disagree respectfully. And to make this conversation even more fun, I have a special guest with me, Tom.
Hey, Emma. Hey, everyone. I'm really excited about this topic because expressing opinions is a huge part of daily life. We all have different perspectives, and learning how to agree or disagree politely makes discussions more interesting and enjoyable.
Exactly. And here's a fun fact. Did you know that in some cultures, disagreeing too directly can be seen as rude? That's why it's important to have the right phrases to keep conversations smooth and friendly.
That's a great point. And today, we'll teach you some super useful phrases. Plus, you'll hear how they sound in real conversations. So, let's get started.
Before we jump into real conversations, let's go over some useful expressions that will help you sound natural when sharing your opinion or responding to someone else. To express your opinion, you can say, in my opinion. For example, in my opinion, coffee is better than tea. I think reading books is a great way to relax. Personally, I believe. For example, I believe exercise is important for mental health. From my point of view, technology makes life easier. As far as I'm concerned, social media is helpful but needs limits. To agree politely, you can say, I completely agree. That's a great point. I see what you mean. I feel the same way. Absolutely. Definitely. To disagree. Politely, you can say, I see your point, but I understand, but I think. That's interesting, but I have a different view. I'm not sure I agree with that. I get what you're saying, but to ask for someone's opinion, what do you think about? How do you feel about? Would you agree that? Do you see it the same way?
These are great, and the best way to remember them is by practicing. So, let's put them into action.
All right, Tom, let's imagine we're having a friendly chat about coffee and tea. Ready?
Let's do it.
So, Tom, what do you think about coffee?
In my opinion, coffee is the best way to start the day. It wakes me up and helps me focus.
I see your point, but I prefer tea. I think it's more calming, especially in the evening.
That's interesting. I agree that tea is great for relaxing, but I still feel that coffee gives you more energy when you need it.
That's a great point, but don't you think too much coffee can make people feel jittery?
I understand what you're saying, but I believe it depends on how much you drink. If you don't overdo it, coffee can be beneficial.
That's fair. I guess it really depends on the person. Let's try another one. Social media. Tom, do you think social media is good or bad?
Personally, I believe social media is great because it connects people and helps us share ideas.
I see your point, but I think it can also be distracting, especially for students.
That's true. I agree that it can be a distraction, but from my point of view, if people use it wisely, it's beneficial.
That's an interesting perspective. Would you agree that people should take breaks from social media sometimes?
Yes, I completely agree. Taking breaks is important for mental health. Maybe having no social media hours in a day could be helpful.
Great idea. Maybe we should all try that. Now, let's imagine a workplace discussion. Tom, do you think working from home is better than working in an office?
I think working from home is more productive because people avoid long commutes and can focus better.
I see your point, but I believe working in an office is important for teamwork and collaboration.
That's interesting. I agree that teamwork is important, but I still feel that remote work gives people more flexibility.
That's a good argument. Maybe a mix of both. Some days at home, some days in the office would be the best solution.
Exactly. A hybrid system sounds like a great balance.
Wow, that was a great discussion. Before we go, here are some final tips for expressing opinions and agreeing or disagreeing. Check be polite when disagreeing. Use phrases like, I see your point, but. Support your opinion with reasons or examples. Ask for the other person's opinion to keep the conversation going. Use different expressions so you don't sound repetitive.
That's great advice. Learning these phrases will help you sound more confident and natural in conversations.
Exactly. So practice these expressions in your daily conversations and let us know how it goes. Thanks for listening to English Uplifting. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss our next episode, where we'll talk about mastering phrasal verbs in everyday conversations. See you next time and happy learning!